Recording in progress. Okay, got it. Thank you very much.
It's all yours, Jose.
All right, recording in progress. Let me just turn down the heat unit I have here. It's working very good. Thank you very much. There you go. All right. Hello to everyone. I want to thank you for taking the time to come and join us today for our seller's net sheet. My name's Jose Martinez, and I'm a realtor just like you. I've been in the business for quite some time. I won't tell you how long, but I've been in the business for quite some time. And I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us for the seller's net sheet. I've been utilizing it for quite some time, and I think it's an important tool, especially now. When I started using it over 30 years ago, uh, we just used the calculator, and I always sarcastically say to everybody, uh, when you took a listing then, how much, when a owner or seller tells you, how much does it cost to sell a property, we'd pull out our calculators, not something like our phone today. And we would say something like this, oh, because I was selling homes there in Chino Hills uh, at that time, before it became the city of Chino Hills, for 35,000. So you'd say something like it's going to be about 8.5%. And what kind of fees would those be, Mr. Martinez? And we'd say something like this: 6% commission, 3% to the listing agent, 3% to the selling agent, and 2.5% towards escrow and garbage fees. Now, if you would have asked me what those garbage fees are, I wouldn't have been able to tell you at that time. And I would say 99% of the realtors that I knew at that time couldn't tell you what garbage fees were either. But that was something that we said. So we have progressed so much. I can tell you that. So anyhow, you should have in your packet my seller's net sheet formula, and we'll go through that together. You should have a one page that'll tell you about, let me get a rate chart here. You all should have one page of a rate chart. And that's from a title company, because we're going to be utilizing the rate chart. So this is one of the rate charts I utilize, and you have one that has a page and it opens up to something like this. So we're going to be utilizing that title chart. And I would suggest to all of you that you all talk to your title people and acquire at least 3 rate charts so you can keep in your files, one in your office, one in your purse, one somewhere around you all the time, in case somebody asks you the question, hey, can you tell me what it would cost to sell my home? This is a good segue into a little story I used to give, so I'll give it now. There are 3 realtors there at the beaches, at the beach area of California, and the 3 realtors are all bragging to each other about how great they are. Okay, and one realtor says, "Well, you know, I was nominated the #1 listing agent of my area," and the other one said, "Oh yeah, I'm the top producer," and the third one went on to tell the other 2 how great all 3 of them were. Okay, and then the fourth one came, and there was a fourth realtor, and the fourth realtor came, and he said, "Hey, what are you guys talking about?" And they said, "Oh, we're talking about how great we are." And then they start talking about other things and the values in the area, and they go, "Wow, the homes in these areas are expensive. They're quite expensive." And all of a sudden, you could see somebody coming down from one of the estates up on the cliffs, looking over the beaches, and he was coming down on this like elevator, coming down slowly down to the beach where the 4 realtors were there, 3 bragging about themselves, and one who just happened to arrive later. Okay, and they're all there. And this is the story of the net sheet and why you should take my class. And so they're all there, and the gentleman says to all 4 realtors, he says, "You know, I live up there, and my neighbor just sold his property next to me. and he just sold it for $7 million. Now I know that I have double the lot he has, and my house is very similar, but with more upgrades. I wonder if we just based it on $8 or $9 million, how about $9 million? Would you be able to tell me what I'd be able to net? And they all said to him, oh, yes, we could do it. And then so he looked at the first one who said he was great. Remember, top agent. And he said, well, I'd love to do it. I went to Mr. Martinez's class, but I don't have my calculator or a calculator with me. And everybody looked at him and said, oh, he doesn't have a cell phone. And so that person snickered. So he said, okay, I can't do it. And they went to number two. Number two said, I'd love to do it as well, but I forgot my formula. I don't have the formula. And I don't have a pen or paper. Can't do it. Number three came up with other excuses as well. And number four, the one that didn't brag and showed up, he happened to say, you know what? I remember Mr. Martinez's seller's net sheet formula, and it's all up here because he said eventually I had to memorize it to know it. And I have a stick, and we can go out to the sand. And I do have my cell phone with me, which works as a calculator. So if you'd like, sir, we go out to the sand. I will write out for you on the sand what you could approximately receive when we sell the home. And I guess the moral to the story is, for me, is you don't have to know a seller's net sheet, but it surely helps. And it helps to have it when you're a listing agent. As a listing agent, a seller's net sheet is an excellent tool. Also for loss mitigation. If you know our attorneys or various attorneys, they'll tell you loss mitigation, any way to protect yourself and to prove that you've informed and your sellers and owners your due diligence. And to me, due diligence has been provide my owners, sellers, a seller's net sheet. It is not a requirement yet on a lot of our brokers or managers or even our SkySlope. But you can see that it's slowly coming to our offices. And I always like to say a drive-in near you, a theater near you. Seller's net sheet, I believe, is going to be mandatory one day. So that's just my little bit for the seller's net sheet before we get into it. All right, you have the seller's net sheet formula. You have one page that tells you the title information we're going to utilize today. And you have 4 pages of the seller's net sheet. If you'll look at one set, the first set we're going to deal with, it should say 989,900. That's in the listing amount. And it should say listing seller, and the date, prepared date, December 17th. Why? Because the day is what? December 17th. So we're preparing this net sheet today. So the first one we're going to do is as if you're taking the listing at the property today. So all of you got a call, and I can see the participants here. All of you received a call. Ring ding. And you picked up the phone. All of you picked up the phone and said, hello. You gave your information and they said, I'd like you to come down to my property here in Torrance, California and discuss the listing of my property. And you did your due diligence. You pulled out the comps, you pulled out the information, and you showed up and you had an idea of what the property was valued at. Based on what you could see, you're going to be able to come up with an idea. So as you got to the property and you viewed the property, you came into your mind that the property you had listed, and you said to the owners, Mr. and Mrs. Owner, if we list your property today here in Torrance, California, and this property says, let's take a look at sheet number 1. The first one we're going to work on says the Browns, owners, built in 1992. Okay, now it says, it should say non-owner, okay, listing. This group is going to be non-owner occupied. They don't live there. They own the property, but it's non-owner occupied. It's going to say that it's Torrance, California, so we'll know what county. And I put there for everyone so that we have the same numbers. Payment, interest, same thing, $3,229. All of us ask the owners, what is your monthly payment? And if there's any HOAs, this family said, no, I only have a monthly payment of $3,229. So I'm going to leave it right there. Let's put that down for a second. Let's go to the seller's net sheet. I just want to briefly go through this information with you. The seller's net sheet, we're going to utilize it, and we're going to take it step by step. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down to 20. And that's how we're going to approach it. We'll take everything in chronological order. So when you do a net sheet on your own, this is how I start off chronologically. Number 1 says here on the net sheet, seller's net sheet, the first thing I have to know is sales price minus debt gives me projected gross equity. So let's get our sheet, get your pens out, paper out, and let's do that. Everybody should have that first information there. If you look to the left of your seller's net sheet, it says encumbrances, and we're dealing with the seller's net sheet that says list at $989.9, projected sales price $989. That's the one. Number 1, the listing, not the sale, the listing. Okay, so I put so that everybody has the same numbers, so nobody's saying to me, Mr. Martinez, I didn't have the same numbers. Okay, and the second sheet, just so you know, the second sheet that you have there has all the correct information, so that if you're doing this net sheet with me and you think you get something wrong, don't worry, it's right here for you. Okay, on the second one, all the information we're going to put into this one right now is on this second duplicate. All right, so we're looking at first encumbrances, and you can write next to encumbrances all debt, all debt. Now, when we're going through the class, if anyone has any questions, please put in the chat or raise your hand, or, you know, I guess you can mic yourself, let me know. Okay. If you have a question about something that I'm discussing and you don't understand, let me know. All right. So under encumbrances, I have the word already for you, all debt. What does that mean? All debt. And what is debt? First trust deeds, second trust deeds, third trust deeds, all the trust deeds, any HELOC, for those who don't know that, equity lines of credit or loan lines of credit against the home. If you have a new pool, I bet you have a lien against the property. If you have new roofing put on, you probably have a lien put against the property. So when I take a listing, I want to find out what other debt. Child support, okay, spousal support, okay, spousal support. So if you have spousal support, child support, tax liens, tax liens. So there's all debt. Just tell them, let me know if you have any debt. Okay, student loans could be debt. Okay, so I would make sure, find out what all debt is. All debt. I owe this, I owe that, I owe this. A hero program, a hero program. I know you've heard of that. That's when they put in the air conditioning, the windows, they put in things in a property. But the difference between that, it's not, it's attached to the property like a first lien. It goes even above the loan. I don't know how that happened, but a hero's debt, you can't get around a hero's debt. You have to pay for it. So that's debt too, even though they say it's a lease until you sell it. It's not like some of the others that I see around us. And hello to all the people that are joining us, starting to join us. We're glad to see you. We're getting ready to go there. So right now we're on number 1, page number 1. The date, it says prepared December 17th, 2021. And all the debts there, Your seller says to you, hey, I have a first trust deed of 325,000. There it is. I have a second trust deed, Mr. Martinez, of 119,000. There it is. And I also have an equity line of credit of about 17,000 between the equity line and credit cards of 17,000. There it is. And then we add up all that debt. And if you add it up, I have it there for you, 461,000. That way we all have the same debt, okay? I want us all to be in the same page together. So my seller's net sheet says, the first thing you must know is the projected gross equity. And the way to find that out is you say, and this one says projected sales price is 989. So you can pull out your calculators. Let me get mine. Let's pull out our calculators. And it's really, all of this is very simple. So once you learn it and you learn the formula, you are set. Thank you very much. Here we go. So I'm going to say in this seller's net sheet, we're saying, I said to Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we're going to list your home for 989,900. I'm pretty sure we could sell it at around that price, but let's put it at 989. That's the mark we're shooting for. And they go, okay, that's fine. So 989 minus 989 minus what? 461,000, that's the debt, equals $525,000. 528,000. 528,000. So on the projected gross equity, I'm going to put $528,000 because that's the projected gross equity. I sell at 989. I owe 461. My projected gross equity is 528. All right, let me clear my calculator. So now we get to the second part when you're of the formula. And the formula next sheet says, now when we look for number 2, escrow fees. And if you look at the chart, it says escrow fees are $2 or 0.2% per thousand plus $250. So in this case, we're selling it at once again, 989, I believe, 989,000 times 0.2% equals $1,978. And then it says plus a setup fee of $250. What is a setup fee? A setup fee simply says, I'm putting it in Erwin James' name. I'm putting it under Gloria Ortega's name. Okay. I'm putting it under Jose's name. Okay. Escrow is not set up with just one print where they can just go, okay, new escrow, start printing. They have to change the setup for the new address, for the new buyers, for the new sellers. That's the setup fee. So I estimate escrow to be, with the escrows that I deal with, at $2 per thousand, plus a setup fee of around $250. Now, you can go and talk to your own individual escrow companies and say to them, can you tell me what you charge for escrow fees and what your setup fee is? And you can input that number in your seller's net sheet, okay? But I'm going to say on the average, and I'm very conservative, it's about $2 per thousand plus a setup fee of $250. Now, like I said, I've been doing this for over 30 years, the seller's net sheet. And I like to give my seller's net sheet when I open up an escrow to my escrow officer so that she has an idea of what I'm telling them they're going to receive based on my estimate. And then I get to look and see how much my clients do receive above maybe my estimate. And most of my clients receive more because I'm conservative. So I'm confident this will work for you. So here we go, escrow. So we looked at escrow and we said, once again, we're selling at 989,000 times 0.2% equals 1978 plus a setup fee of what? Plus $250. for a total of $2,228. So my escrow is going to be for this transaction $2,228. Now, like I said to all of you earlier, you don't have to worry if you're getting it right because I already sent you all the numbers already. So you have it. We're just going to go through this one so we can practice together. All right. The next one, sub escrow. You can see the sub escrow is already there. Recording is already there. Drawing deeds is already there. And my seller's net sheet is like a script. So when you're doing something, you could just use the script. And they could, well, Gloria, what is a sub escrow? And Gloria says to me, Mr. Martinez, a sub escrow is not an escrow fee, but a fee charged by the title company. That fee is split between both buyer and seller. And it's approximately $75. Wow. Okay. There it is. That's what I tell my clients. So we're more intelligent. We know what we're talking about. Hey, sub escrow is not an escrow fee. It's a fee charged by the title company. And it's approximately $75 for you, Mr. Martinez, and $75 toward the buyer. Okay. That's your script right there. Okay. So that's what sub escrow is. You can look at the script when we're done with the class today, and you can see it. There's sub escrow, boom, $75. Okay. Next one. Okay. Recording. Well, look right there. Number 4. What is recording? Once again, there's your script. This could be fees for reconveyances or attorney documents. These could be fees for reconveyances or attorney documents. Doesn't that sound a lot better than what's the cost of selling my home? 8.5%, 3% for the listing agent, 3% for the selling agent, and 2.5 towards escrow, title, and garbage fees. Doesn't that sound more intelligent? I mean, we've come a long ways. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of realtors who don't do seller's net sheets. Okay. And you're behind. You can't even tell me what it's all about. How are you going to get a listing? It's a great tool for getting the listing. I can tell you that. All right. Drawing deed. What is it for? Right there. Fees to draw up the grant deed. It's fees to draw up the grant deed. Fees to draw up the grant deed. So there they are, 75, 125, 125. I leave those in my net sheet. I don't have to change those because they're constant. They're like cement. They're in cement. So if you make your own net sheet, 75, 125, 125, you can just leave them in there. They don't change. Okay. Now we get to the next one, title insurance. All right. So now let's go to that sheet that I gave you. We're selling this home for $989,000. Let's look in our title chart for $989,000. Okay. There is no 989. Oh my goodness. There's a 980. There's a 980. And then there's a 990. So never go down. Never go down. Always go up. When the number is there that you don't want, go up to the next number. And in this case, it would be 990 because we're not going to 980. So we'll go to 990, which is 2,505 for the Eagles owner policy, the best policy. When I'm looking for the policy for my clients, I'm looking at, say the title, which is the best policy? Sometimes they say Alta. Okay, you heard that word. Oh, you want the Alta policy. Okay. Well, they call this the Eagle policy. So I want the best policy for my client. And which one would that be? At $990,000, 2,505. So let's insert that into the net sheet. Title insurance will be 2,200 and what? Let's see. Let me take one more look. 2,505. 2,505. 2,505. All right. Now we're at the portion where we're looking at the transfer tax, number 7. Transfer tax. If you look at the seller's net sheet, I say to you, and this is the formula that I utilize. So please go with the formula that I give you, and it'll keep you good all the time. I have in the formula that in San Bernardino and Riverside, when you are looking at a property, you're going to say the tax is going to be $1.10 per thousand. In Orange County and in LA County, utilize $2.20 per thousand. All right. That's what I utilize on my formula. So in this case, this property is in Torrance. Torrance is in Los Angeles County. So you would use a $2.20 per thousand. So we're going to go through that process with you. Get your calculators once again, put in the price that we're going to sell it for, and that would be $989,000. And my formula says sales price divided by 1,000 times transfer tax. So the formula could be a million divided by 1,000, 500 divided by 1,000. In this case, it's 989,000 divided by 1,000 times what? The transfer tax of LA County of 2.2. So 989,000 divided by 1,000 gives you equals 989 times 2.2, not percent, 2.2 equals $2,175.80. $2,175.80. So put that in there. $2,175.80. Now, I have a lot of people, a lot of the realtors say to me, Mr. Martinez, I mean, that's pretty simple. If I'm selling a house for a million divided by 1,000, it's this. If I'm selling, that's pretty simple. And I say, yes, it is. But I give you the formula for a reason. It's always to make sure you're correct. And I'll give you an example. You don't have to do it, but what if I was selling a house for 989,000? Go back one, 989,222. Now, I know we don't sell homes for that. Okay. But that's why I give you a formula. Because if I said, hey, we're selling a home for $989,200.22, whip out that number for me right away now. You can't, but you can if you go divide it by 1,000. Anytime you know the formula equals 98922200022. And if you said whatever times this, it would be the right number, because that's the formula. That's how you check yourself. So I know when you're selling a house for 500,000, you can say 500, 455,000, 455. But like I said, I give you the formula so you can always confirm you're right. Just so you can confirm you're right. It's always good to be able to check yourself. Okay, so in this case, our transfer tax is $2,175.80. All right, let's go to the next one. Prepayment penalty. I have it probably zero already in yours, but if it isn't, prepayment penalty is zero. We're asking the seller, and the seller says to us, no, I don't have a prepayment penalty. I advise all of you when you take a listing to ask that question. No, they're not giving out loans with prepayment penalties, but you could run into somebody that does have some form of prepayment penalties. So it doesn't do any wrong to ask the question, do you have a prepayment penalty? And in this case, they said no, so we put zero. I've had only one case in my entire career where a prepayment penalty became an issue. Okay, they didn't tell me about it. They didn't tell me about it. I had the seller's net sheet, and when the money came up short, because the money came up short, believe me, he called and he wasn't a happy camper. And I said, let me, and you know, we realtors, we're going, and this was early in my career, we're going to go see our clients because your client said, I got less than what you told me. And I said, how much less? And he said, $10,000. My God, my heart dropped. And can you come to my home and explain this to me, Mr. Martinez? Oh my gosh. So I had my seller's net sheet, I had the closing package, and we went and we looked over everything. And you can see signatures, seller signatures, agent signatures, everybody's signatures. And believe me, I was nervous. 10,000. My gosh, what did I do wrong? And I'm not saying all the words that he said to me. He just didn't say it like that. Mr. Martinez, can you please come over and visit with me? There was other words that let me know that he was in high intensity. Okay. And so you go to your client and once again, how this helped me out. We both, can you pull out your package, Mr. Owner, Mr. Seller? They pulled out their package. And then I said, can you pull out the seller's net sheet? And he did. So that way he can see his and I could see mine. And that way we can have two separate net sheets with signatures on it. His signatures, my signatures. And we start looking at it. And I looked at the closing statement. And the thing that glared out at me was prepayment, $10,000. And I looked at the net sheet and it said 0. And his said 0. And then we looked at that and then boy, you could see I felt comfortable. And then he looked at me with a little bit of embarrassment and said, oh my, I forgot. And his wife said, and you did all that, I won't tell you what he said. And she said, you did all that hollering to Mr. Martinez. And, and I was young in my career. That's the kind of time when you get something like that, when I'm going to get out of this business. So it works. It works. I can assure you. All right. So here we go. We're at prepayment. They said 0. Reconveyance, 125. And you can look at your script. If you go down to reconveyance, number 9, reconveyance, what is it for? For deeds, the first, second, third trust deed. Okay, to reconvey those first, second, and third trust deeds. Once again, it's a script. What are you paying? What am I paying for? To reconvey the first, second, and third trust deeds. That's what they're going to use that $125 for. Oh, okay, thank you. Interest. All of us, we have the same interest, so we can all input the same interest. And I have it up on top. That's one of the things you ask your seller, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do we have, what's your monthly mortgage payment? And in this case, they said $3,229. And I always follow up, is there any HOA? And if there is, let's say she said $500 of HOA, you put that on the monthly payment. Mortgage payment, HOA equals monthly interest payment. But in this case, we only have a monthly interest payment of $33,229. Are you with me? All right. Preps and docs, $200. So let's keep going down. Preps and docs, number 11. Okay. It says very simple, to prepare the docs. You have to prepare the docs. They're taking it out of your name, putting it in somebody else's name, preparing the documentation for the new buyer. Preparing docs, $200. Appraisal, 0. In this scenario, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we're going to sell your property and 0. Now, let me say something to you before we continue. When I take a listing, I want to show the sellers and the owners as much money as we can. All of us do. Okay? We want to discuss what the possibilities are, but that doesn't mean that we have to say, oh, and there's a possibility that somebody's going to ask for 10,000, so I'm going to deduct it now. I'm just letting you know. I usually discuss what possibilities could happen during a transaction. And then I note those information. But the key is I want my owners and my sellers to see as much net that they're going to put more money in their pocket right now. We'll worry about the offer when the offer comes. So appraisal, 0. Pest inspection. Okay. Now, pest inspection, it's all different for realtors. Some of you don't want a pest inspection and you can put 0 there. But today we're going to pretend you're like me. I normally get a pest inspection and it's $75. So put in your, where it says pest inspection, $75. Okay. Why? That's for the inspection. I like to get the inspection and provide that to prospective buyers when they're going to be making an offer on my property. Why? So they can know the as is, or that's how some people like to say, but we shouldn't be saying as is condition. We should say present condition, or this is the condition I find it. So I like to give them a report. Here's the pest report. The pest report says it's clear. The pest report says there's infestation, and here's the much infestation. And then I can tell them seller's going to pay for it. Seller's not going to pay for it. And that's based on technique. I know a lot of people say, I don't like, if you don't know, you don't have to disclose. I'm on the opposite side. I disclose, and when I represent a buyer, I can always go into escrow with you guys who don't allow me to do that, get into escrow, and then I can order all the inspections I want. I can order pest, septic, anything, because that's contingency period. So for me, I'm today $75 for pest inspection. FHA, VA costs. I tell the buyers on a property like this, I doubt it's going to be FHA or VA. Okay, FHA doesn't go up to this amount, okay? And the VA buyer is not looking for a home like this. They're usually coming into first-time home owners. But if they need any of them were to be buying it, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, they can ask from $1 on up to 3 to 6%, whatever they want to ask for. Oh my goodness, Mr. Martinez, if they ask for 3% on 989,000, oh my, yes, it's oh my. Okay, so right now we're going to put 0, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, until we receive an offer. We'll see what anybody wants to do. 0. Home warranty. I asked the seller, I'd like to market the property with a home warranty. It will help us market the property, and it allows the prospective buyers to see the property and know that they're going to receive a property that has a warranty, so that when you're gone, they'll be able to have maybe items that break down or might break down rectified. How much would that cost? I'm going to say to her, it's about $600. She says, I have no problem with that. So there's home warranty. Let's put $600. And it helps me market the property. Okay. Brokerage. Oh my goodness. My goodness. She said, Melissa, Letitia, oh, Kathy, Joy, all of you guys. You guys did a great job. I was only going to give you guys 5%, but you did so well. I'm willing to give you 6%. Okay. So let's look at what 6% of a listing on 989,000 will be. So let's get our calculators out. All right. 989,000 times 6% equals $59,340. 59,000. Put in the brokerage. $59,340. Now I know why you guys all driving Mercedes, Lexus, what's that, Tesla? And I saw one of you or two of you coming down in a helicopter. $59,340. Woo! My goodness. All right. 6%. Great listing presentation. Okay. Buyer's fees. Once again, what are buyer's fees, Mr. Martinez? Buyer fees are just like FHA fees, conventional fees. And I tell my sellers and owners this, I really don't care what name they give a fee. FHA, VA, conventional, Mickey Mouse, whatever name you want to give it. It's a fee. So I tell them buyers can ask or will ask for between nothing and X amount of dollars. Do I have to give it to them? We can watch and see what the offer comes and then discuss that later. Okay, right now we're going to put 0. Buyer's fees, 0. Miscellaneous fees. If you look at my next sheet, you'll see that it says miscellaneous. Miscellaneous for homes of $1 to $500,000, $500. From a home from a $500,000 on up, put $1,000. Okay, so we're going to put 1,000. What's the miscellaneous for? To cover anything that's miscellaneous that comes up. We do an inspection, home inspection, something comes up. What if we did the pest inspection and pest came up and it was $500? That covers the miscellaneous and leaves us a little bit more money. Here's what I've learned over the years. Over the years, and you're obligated to the same thing that I have. In order for us to do anything, we have to ask the owners and sellers, can we get these things rectified? Once I have the money under miscellaneous, it is used to rectify issues that come up during home inspections and times like that, items of that nature. So that's what miscellaneous covers. You may go in and say, Mr. Martinez, can you fix the screen door? Can this be done? Can this be done? Can this be done? And I have that money there, and I don't have to go back to my owners and sellers to ask for permission to get these things done. Or can we get them done? We can get them done because I have the money already available. And I tell them when I'm taking the listing, in the event that we don't utilize any of these funds, they all go back to you, more net to you. So in this case, miscellaneous, $1,000. All right. Now we're going down to number 19, and private transfer tax. Private transfer tax. This home was built in 92. So the private transfer tax did not exist in 92. The private transfer tax came into effect in 1999. So I could still ask the question, are you affected or do you know of any private transfer tax on the property? But I don't believe this one would have any. And in this case, she said, no, there's no private transfer tax. But if you're going to take a listing of 1999 and newer, you should ask the question, is there a private transfer tax? Sometimes your sellers, your owners may not know that there is or isn't, and you may not find out until you are in escrow, okay? So how do you find out about that? When somebody lists the property in the area that you are marketing, look at what the other listing agents say. I always do that. I like to look at what the other listing agents say. They'll usually say, the ones that do know, they'll usually say in their MLS, this property is in a private, has a private transfer tax. So if you're going to get a listing there and other agents are already saying in the MLS that the area you're going to get a listing in has private transfer tax, that's a clue. Okay. So agents always tell me, how do I find out, Mr. Martinez? The title company is not going to be able to tell you because it's not on title. So you have to find out. And I always tell agents, like what attorneys tell me, well, you're the listing agent. You're the expert of the area. So when we hold ourselves to those standards, we need to know usually what goes on in our farm areas. And once again, ask the owner, do you have a private transfer tax? And the owner may not know, because I've had that happen to me quite a few times. But in this case, they said no. We put 0, private transfer tax 0. Non-owner occupied. They do not live here. They do not live here. They said, hey, we're leasing it. We're leasing it, Jose. We've been leasing it for 5 years now. Okay. And then they said to you, are we obligated to pay anything? And once again, when they say something like that, you should always say, well, I'm not an attorney. You should talk to your CPA or a California attorney about those questions. But I will tell you what I do know. Since you don't live in, you haven't lived here for 5 years, escrow is going to pull out 3.33%. Wow. So let's figure that out. We're selling it for what? $989,989 times 3.33%, because that's what they charge for federal and state. Your escrow company will pull this out of anyone that lease is a property, equals, okay, everybody got it? 989,000 times 3.33% equals $32,933. Let's put it down there. $32,933.70. Okay. Now, sometimes they'll say this to you, Mr. Martinez, is there any way I can get this funds back? And I let my sellers know and my owners know, yes. If you have done your taxes and you have a CPA and they're doing the taxes, they're going to be able to recoup that 3.33% through the tax process, through the income tax process, because they can prove that the federal, state has been paid on a regular basis. And that's basically what they're doing. Escrow will pull out the federal and state 3.33% because they're obligated by law to pull that out of all non-owner occupied property. And looking out the window. And therefore, they'll pull it out, and then your owners will go to their CPA and their attorneys, and through the legal process, recoup those funds back. So that's what I let my clients know. If you have your CPA and you've been doing your taxes, once again, I'm not a CPA nor an attorney. Please consult your CPA or attorney, California attorney, to make sure that you can do those things that we're discussing. And they've been able to recoup those funds back. Okay. So it's not like, oh my God, I got to lose all this money. They're not losing it, but they have to pay it because they're not there. And that's the legal process that we're in right now. And then there's one other factor that I don't have. For those of you who deal with international buyers, the next sheet we're dealing with is a real simple buyer as far as I'm concerned. International buyers, there could be other tax ramifications, up to 10% or 15% more, depending on what their legal status and if they're living in the property, not living in the property. There's other ramifications. But the next sheet I'm going to use your almost all of the ones that you're going to do. Usually you run into every day. So let's run all the numbers. Let's run these numbers through that we have. Okay. We have, let's start from the top, all of us together. We have escrow of $2,228. Sub escrow 75 plus 125 plus drawing deed of 125 plus title insurance of $2,505 plus transfer tax of $2,175.80 plus reconveyance of 125. All of us have interest of $3,229, preps and docs of $200, pest inspection $75, and we're taking the listing. Remember, we're taking the listing. Pest inspection $75 just to find out if there's anything wrong. Okay. FHA right now, $0. Brokerage, because all of you are so dynamic. Ernesto, the best listing I've ever heard. Okay. 6%. Okay. $59,340. Buyer's fees, $0. Miscellaneous, $1,000 to cover what? Those items that may come up during escrow, during the contingency period. Now, I tell you this, like I tell you, I don't like to go back to my sellers and grovel and say to them, we need the $1,000 to fix things up after we've already opened up escrow. We're going through everything. If you open up the listing and you already have the $1,000, it does great wonders. Non-owner occupancy, $32,933.70 for a total of $104,735.70. $104,735.70. Now, the last thing that it says on our seller's net sheet for you to do really is to find out what the estimated proceeds are going to be, is you take the cost, total cost of $104,735.70 from the gross equity of $525,000 minus $104,735.70 leaves me, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, approximately $423,264.30. Okay, $423,264.30. $1,223,000.30. That's what you'd be telling your owners. If we sold your home at this price, based on what it would cost, based on what you owe, you would walk away with approximately $423,264.30. Now, I forgot to say to you earlier, when I take a listing, always ask the question. And what is the question? Always ask the question to the owners and sellers, what are your plans? What do you plan on doing? Before you even take the listing, before you even discuss the listing. I want to know that. Why? Because I want to know what you're going to do. If you said to me, let's say Gloria said to me, Mr. Martinez, I plan to buy a condominium. If I have around $300,000 less, I'm going to buy a condominium. What do we have? $300,000? We have $400,000. Come on, Gloria, let's go look for that condominium. Okay. If Kathy said, Mr. Martinez, if I can get 400,000, I'm going to go be looking for some properties further east. I'm in Los Angeles right now. I want to go to Menifee. Can I help you find something in Menifee if we can get you this sold and get you that amount of money? And she said, you sure can. So before you sit down to talk to anything about anything, ask the question, what are your plans? What do you plan on doing when we sell this property? Why? Because it allows you to decide how you can help them. Okay. If they say to you, I want to buy another property, and you can attach yourself, if I can help you accomplish what you want to do here, can I help you do this? And they say, yes, you have 2 deals, maybe 3. So ask the question, what are you going to do? And in this case, let's pretend I asked the question and we wound up with the 400,000. And I can say to you, well, we wound up with more than 350,000. We wound up with $423,264.30. We can now go out and find that property in the area you said. I'm attaching myself to the next transaction. Okay. So that is sheet number 1. I hope everybody followed through. If there's any questions, I see something in the chat. Is anything for me or is that for? Good morning. Yep, she sent out the handouts earlier. All right. Uh-oh. She's got the mask. And wear the mask. See, if you're going to be out with family and friends, get your shots, get your boosters. I can't tell you what to do, but my door says no booster, no shot, no entry. That's how I am. I guess that's why I'm by myself. Okay, here we go. The next one. The next net sheet we're going to do, you can pull it out. And I don't have to explain to you now the information about what the seller's net sheet means. We're going to go through the same process. But if you pull out the net sheet, if you look at the date, it says date prepared. Now it says January 1st, January 1st, 2022. What? Yes, January 1st, 2022. You took the listing today, you put it on the market today, and bam, you got an offer. I mean, that's boom, you're dynamic. Okay, you got an offer on the first day of the new year. And you had not one offer, multiple offers. Who says that realtors don't work during the holidays? Come on, we're making dreams come true every day. That's what we do. Okay. So here goes, January 1st, you can see it. The sheet you should be pulling up, the blank one, January 1st, 2022. Okay. Same situation, same person. But now we have the offer. That's why it says where it says net sheet, it says seller to open, and it's going to say escrow. See, it doesn't say listing. Now it lets you know seller to open escrow. Now, this is the final one. We've looked at everything. We've gone everything. This is the one we're going to open up escrow with. This is the offer you and your sellers accepted. And you're going to open up escrow. So we're going to do the net sheet for this one. Okay. And we listed it, what? 989,900. But you received an offer. So let's put down the projected selling price. You received an offer of $1,075,000. 1,075,000, forgive me. 1,075,000. 1,075,000. 1,075,000. You received the offer for 1,075,000. Now, if you look over to the left once again on this sheet, all the debt's the same. It hasn't changed. It's the same that when you took the listing. So if you took it and it was 461,000, 461,000, 18 days later. So what we're going to do, first thing we do is like we did, find out what our projected gross equity is going to be. So I have a new sales price of, let me get my calculator out, a new sales price of 107,500 minus what? $461,000 equals 614. So our new projected gross equity with the offer we're going to open up escrow with, and congratulations, you got more than the list price, is 614. So now projected gross equity is 614. Are you all with me? All right. So now we're going to do escrow. Same way, but with a different number. Let's put in the number. 1,075,000 times what? 0.2% equals. Everybody say 1,075,000 times 0.2% equals. Everybody should have, and if anybody wants to tell me the number, feel free to shout it out. $2,150 plus what? The setup fee. So now we got to put in the 250 plus a setup fee of 250 for a total of $2,400. So escrow is now going to be $2,400. Sub escrow, recording, drawing deed. They don't change because what did I say? They're like cement. Sub escrow, 75. Drawing deed, 125. What's the next one? Recording, 125. They don't change. So they're right there for you. Title insurance. Uh-oh. Let's pull out that sheet again. But this time we got to look for what? 1,075,000. Let me look. 1,075,000. Okay. Uh-oh. No 1,075,000. There's 1,070,000. And we can't go to that. So we got to go up to 1,080,000, which is $2,634. All of us should be at where it says Eagle policy at 1,080,000, $2,634. Let me put it in there. $2,634. That's it. Okay. So now we can go once again. Next one, what is it? Transfer tax. So we know where it's at. It's in Los Angeles. So once again, 1,075,000 divided by what? 1,000 equals 1,075 times what? Times 2.2, don't hit percent, equals $2,365. 1,075,000 at 2.2% is $2,365. So there's your transfer tax. $2,365. Ask the seller, is there a prepayment penalty? Hasn't changed. So you already know the answer to that one. 0. Okay, it was on the next sheet number 1. Reconveyance, they didn't change. 125. Okay, interest, that hasn't changed. It's still the same. $3,229. Okay, preps and docs, that doesn't change. 200. Appraisal, that doesn't change. Inspection, $75. Now that could have changed. I did an inspection, but I'm the agent. Remember that. You're going to pretend you're me. You called up, you got the inspection done immediately. I get it. I'm going to say to all of you, get all your disclosures, get anything you're going to give to the prospective buyers immediately so that you can give those disclosures so that they can determine a buyer, do I want to buy this property? Okay. Everything. I mean, the TDS too. I know that they say 7 days, 7 days. They pretend the TD said that the house was falling down. And you didn't give it to me until the 10th day. So in this case, we're going to pretend I got the inspection done within 2 days of listing it. The pest company came out, looked at it, and they said to all of our amazement, it's clear. So I'm going to be able to get a clear report in this scenario to the prospective buyer. They're going to see, they're going to buy this property and the pest report says clear. So pests, $75. It didn't cost any more than the inspection. Now, here's another tip. I like to deal with my clients and be loyal to my vendors. I can't speak for you and your vendors, but my vendor, when I do the pests, they forego the pest inspection. So when we get something like that where the pest is free, that's what it is, free, then my sellers are not paying back $75. I let them know that $75, you don't have to pay for it. Oh my goodness, it's like a gift being waived. Why? Because I've been given the pest vendors I work with work over the years. That's why loyalty is very important too. FHA, VA costs. We received an offer, and the reason we accepted this offer, because we received offers, multiple offers, all of you. Ernesto received offers, Irvin, even Laura got an offer. We all got offers. And so we got the offers and multiple offers, but some of them said, I'm going to give you the same amount, but I want $5,000, or I want $25,000, or I want the whole $75,000. So it didn't leave more money to our sellers. We looked at the one that left them more money. And this one said, I want to buy the home and I don't want any money back. Zero. FHA, zero. Home warranty, we offered it during the listing, $600, hasn't changed. Brokerage, that has changed a little bit because we're now selling it for what? $1,075,000. So let's go. 1075 times what? 6%, because you're so dynamic. 64,500 now. It's now 64,500 for brokerage. All right, at 6%. Buyer's fees, zero. That's why we took the listing, because the buyer didn't ask for anything. We love this buyer. Okay. And the buyer was able to show not that you could just take any listing, because anybody can make an offer for more than list price. This buyer has substantial funds in the bank to be able to pay the difference. Okay, that's another thing too in technique when we're accepting offers. Oh, they're going to offer us 1.2 million. We'll accept that one. But if you can't prove the value, or they won't pay more than list price, it's an effort for naught. So when we accepted the offer, we said, I told the agent, well, I'm confident of finding value of around 1,025,000. I don't know about 1,075,000. And they said, we don't care. We want this property and we're willing to pay. And here's our bank statements proving they can pay more money. So another scenario. Okay. I like to be real life scenarios because I deal in the real life. I don't take offers and you offer me 1.4 million for a property that's only worth 900,000 unless you're ready to pay more money and pull it out of your pocket. Okay. Because I know the bank's not going to give it to us. Okay. We're realtors. So that's the scenario. Now, miscellaneous, zero. Non-owner occupied. This check is going to go up a little bit, okay, because we're getting more money. On 0, 75, 0, 0, 0. times what? Times 3.33% equals $35,797.50. There is no private transfer tax, zero. So, and you're saying once again to your owners, Mr. and Mrs. Owner, please contact your CPA and or attorneys or tax consultants and have them discuss that taxes that the escrow is going to be taking out as per law, state and federal, and they could probably get those fees back for you. Okay. I don't make any promises because I am not what, and you are not what, attorneys. I've heard attorneys send me that so many times that I'm like a little, just repeat it now. We're not attorneys. Call your CPA or a California real attorney. So anyhow, let's add all these numbers together. All right, I'm gonna get my calculator, clear everything. We'll start from the top. I always like to start from the top. 2,400 for escrow plus 75 sub escrow plus 125 plus 125 plus what? 2,634 for title insurance plus transfer tax of 2,365 plus 125 plus 75 for pests and the clearance plus $600 for that warranty plus 64,000. Is that 500 for the realtor commission? Oh, I'm sorry. Put on miscellaneous. I didn't give it to you. Miscellaneous $1,000. Miscellaneous to fix up anything. Plus miscellaneous of $1,000. And then finally, a non-home owner of $35,797.50 for a total of, anybody want to give me the total? Okay. Anybody got the total? It's on the other paper. We should have, I think, what? 113. Let me see. What total? Let me pull it out. 113,250.50. Is that what everybody has? 113,250.50. Okay. And if you take that from a sales price of we're selling this one at $1,075,000, take away projected gross equity of 614, left us a projected gross equity of, well, let's see, we're selling it, let's see, projected gross equity, selling price, $1,075,000 less 461 on debt for projected gross equity of 614, less cost of $113,250.50, and the owners will receive $500,749.50. $500,749.50. For those of you who came to my class last month, we had something very similar. The difference is that we had two owners. One owner lived in the property and one owner was non-owner occupied. Think about what I'm saying to you. So you have a property and one person lives in it. They're divorced. The wife is living in the property, the husband's not living in the property, and you sell the property. What do you do on something like that? On something like that, all you're going to do is, if let's say the projected gross equity was, and I'm going to give you a number. Let's just say that you had a projected gross equity after you sold everything and you said, I have 500,000, and I'm using that number because it's simple. Divided by 2 equals, you should have 250,000. Okay. All you would do is take out the 33 1/3 out of the one that doesn't live in the property, not the other one. If I lived in the property, don't take it out of me because I'm paying my taxes in that. you take it out of the one that doesn't live. Okay. But in this case, both the Browns, they don't live in the property. They haven't lived in the property for 5 years. And you told them if you sold your property at $1,075,000, you would walk away with $500,749.50. And since you all asked me the question, what did I plan on doing after the sale? And I said, if I can get $350,000, I'd like to go buy a condominium or some other property. All of you said, can I help you, Mr. Martinez, find that condominium or other property? All right. I hope that helps you. If you have any questions, please let me know. And if you don't, I appreciate you joining with me. Like I said, I think this is important that you understand a seller's net sheet. Practice, make yourself net sheets and create your own scenarios. Practice them on a regular basis that you become proficient. I do my net sheets in front of my clients when I'm taking a listing. I don't know about you, but my clients don't have all day to be with Mr. Martinez. So I usually am in a listing presentation for between 45 minutes and an hour at most. And when I'm doing my net sheet, I'm usually doing it in front of them. And I usually can get it done within 5 minutes or less. Why? Because I'm asking questions of them as I'm going through it. And that's the way you have to do it. And then I let them see the net sheet and say to them, if we were to sell your home at this price, this is what you would receive. And then they see it and I have it. If they decide that they're going to work with me, I leave a copy of the net sheet there for them. If they decide at that moment that they're going to talk to other realtors, they said, no, we have an appointment with Joy, we have an appointment with Melissa, I let them know, fine, that I'm going to take my seller's net sheet. And if they decide they'd like to work with me, I'll be glad to provide it. Okay. Now, I found, like I said, over my career that I acquired a lot of listings. I think all of you acquire listings because of your personality and your dynamics. But having a listing seller's net sheet, I believe, helps the sellers realize that you're a professional and that you have a tool. It's not only a tool to get a listing, it's good for loss mitigation. It's good to compare to the closing statement so that when the owners acquire more than the $1,075,000, you're going to be able to say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm glad that you received $1,080,000, $1,090,000. And how will you know unless you had a net sheet? Okay. So that's what helps me. All right. Do we have any questions, Laura, from anybody? If not, then I'm going to say to everybody, like I said, we are going to get together, I believe next year. Laura's going to be setting it up. She'll be letting all of us know. I think we're going to start on Fridays from 10 to noon. That's what Laura's indicated to me. Unless I can't make it, we'll change the date. But that's the plan, once a month. And I'll have a new class, a new scenario all the time so that we can keep sharp on it. Come to the classes, get proficient at it, practice, and get out there and get listings. Peace and love to everybody. That's what I say. Peace and love to everybody. Take care.
Bye, Jose. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to all of you. And thank you for coming.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.